Hi, my name's Kevin Blanche. Today I want to talk about Barack Obama. I want to talk about it. I was thinking about this the other day, and I was talking to a friend of mine. Barack Obama is the ultimate blotter test. The greatest blotter test of all time. I mean, when people look at him and they think about him and they talk about him, it's not what they say and what they feel isn't anything really to do with him. It's to do with themselves, including me. You know, you think about it, he's half black, he's half white. He was raised by these white people that were upper middle class. He was never really around many blacks, yet the black community embraces him like he is one of theirs, because he kind of is. And then, you know, so it's really, it's crazy. He's the ultimate blotter test. I think, well, when you look at anyone, you hear anyone talk, it's somewhat of a blotter test because it says more about you than it does other people. So here's how I lay it out here. Okay. So do you see him and you look at him as this man who came from this very bright, intelligent, maybe kind of rebellious, educated white female born in Kansas who kind of went her way, and he was raised by his upper middle class staunch white grandparents in white Hawaii, and struggles with his own identity like many young teens did, including me in that generation, and experimented with life and got his act together and made his way through schools and became this brilliant freaking genius and this pragmatic lawyer who became President of the United States? Or do you see him like this? The first black man to become President of the United States. Or do you see him like this? He's hope. He's all hope. He's all hope. You know, really, I think a lot of Americans see him as hope. What does that say about America? How desperate is America for hope? They want to grab onto something. I mean, I just watched Zenyatta win her 17th race. I'm a big horse racer. I got teared up. It brought tears to my eyes. I love that horse. You know, but if you watch the documentary or read about Seabiscuit, Barack Obama's kind of like Seabiscuit. Everybody wants to grab. So the people they're saying he's hope, that says that they're desperate and they want hope. And I think that's a good thing. And I think that's a vast majority of America that like this guy, that voted for this guy. Or then there's the other people. A lot of them white, I think, middle-class males who live right around me. They see he intimidates them because just pure blackness. Now, there are people that don't like him because he is a Democrat. And I understand those people because they're Republican. I mean, we have a two-party system that's worked very well for all these years. You know, it's important that we have it. But I think a lot of people see him and he breaks down all kinds of fears. You know, I hear all the time, you know, we're not going to be the majority anymore. Soon we're going to be the minorities. And I'm like, who are we? What are you talking about? Because I hear middle white class people out here, I believe the stuff I hear, being a middle class white male in Utah would blow people's minds because they think I'm one of them. Because middle class white male who's not a Kool-Aid drinking Republican, there's not very many of us here. So I hear it. And we're not going to be the majority no more. I hear it all the time. I'm like, yes, so? What's your point here? Who cares? Really, does it matter who's the majority or minority based on race or the way you look? It's based on what in the person's mind or head, you know. I don't care if it's the Hispanic population, the African American population, the European white population. Hopefully we're smart enough to get the best of the brains, and that becomes our politicians. So I think he is a blotter test. And I hear people all the time, and you know, we look at him, he is the ultimate. I think history's going to look back and say these things. I think they're going to say he was I mean, he's an enigma, really. I mean, he's half white, he's half black. But I mean, they were saying he was not black, and he doesn't come from slave ancestors. His father was a Kenyan African that he didn't even know. His mother was as white gets from Kansas. His grandparents as white gets who raised him in Hawaii, my God. Yeah, there's our real freaking black urban community. But, now, his wife's a different thing. His wife is the epitome of the African plight, the ancestor of slaves, grew up in Chicago, you know, with a hardcore work life. You know, how can you not like everything about her? And to me, I'll tell you what he says to me. And he said this from day one. I told some friends of mine, because I was, you know, I kind of thought, well, Hillary's going to win, Hillary's going to win. And somebody asked me one day, and I says, I'm voting for Barack Obama. And they're like, what? This guy's so far back in the polls, you know? And I'm like, I got a hunch he might be okay. And I remember telling a friend of mine, you know who he reminds me of? And then she's like, who? And I said, Jackie Robinson. That's who he reminds me of. When Jackie Robinson became the first African-American to break the baseball barrier, which is ridiculous, that never happened, Branch Rickey picked him because he was so confident and so intelligent that it didn't matter. People could attack him at all angles. And that is the pure epitome of self-confidence. If you're self-confident, people can say anything you want about you. They can attack you, whatever. And if you're purely self-confident, it doesn't faze you. I mean, it's amazing to me that he is able to do that. And isn't it ironic that his wife's last name is Robinson? That's what it means to me. But that says more about, I guess, what I am, who I am. He is the blotter test. And what people say and what they think about it, because you hear very few arguments based on substance about the man. You hear radicals spew on all different sides. You know, and the Hope thing, I really can understand that, because there's a lot of desperate people in this country. And, you know, we got dug into a ditch for a long time. You know, there's a lot of repression in this country for a very, very long time. And so I think that's a good thing. But I think it's all how you look at him and all how you see him.